Almost. Just a moment. Now, if you can hear me.
We can.
My screen disappeared, but I do have, oh, here we go. Okay, we're going now.
Welcome, everyone, as we get started. Today, we start with Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stormy the road we trod, bitter the chasing blood, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with the steady beat and on a weary feet, come to the place for which our parents sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading a path through the blood of the Scion. Now from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us the star on the way, thou who hast by thy mind led us into the light. Keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places of God where we met thee. Lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
What is our native land?
Africa.
Africa, the homeland of mankind, the homeland of 7 billion human beings who on August 2nd in the United Nations created the permanent form on people of African descent, 1.6 billion of those people around the world, 300 million in the global African diaspora, 1.3 billion who are now. As we come together in these daily calls, we bring to the table these issues around that 1.6 billion entity that's newly born. We have agreed to work together with UNESCO. And it just so happens that the man who is in charge of civil society in the United States, previously under the UNESCO operations when we were a member country of UNESCO, is here with us. And I'm going to ask him to give us a briefing on how we can work to get the United States to come back to being a member of UNESCO, and how we can work to make that happen like we worked to make the creation of the permanent forum on people of African descent happen. Guy?
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Shell. It's good to see you. I would like to have to share a document. Okay.
You may.
Yes,
you
okay, thank you.
I can't hear, guys. Is it me or?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to upload a document that I have here, but somehow
Well, it's much better if you can share your screen. I'm not sure if we have the ability to upload a document. Can you bring it to your screen?
okay, shit. Oh, I see. Okay, that was the issue. So I was trying, okay, I know what I'm going to do very quickly, please.
Yeah, so you could share screen, and then when you're through with doing your
Okay.
presentation, then upload the document.
Share screen. Okay, perfect. Okay. So I hope you can see the screen now.
Yep, go ahead.
So thank you so much. So I know I've been very, very happy in the last few days, since the last about this week, to receive a call from many of the people, our brother and sister, who have been following us here, and they, they're like, they don't want to wait and what will happen, but they want to know how to create a UNESCO club today. Okay, they know that you and I, we are working to have all these clubs across, and they wanted to have a presentation. So that's why I did this presentation. There's still going to be another one later on, but at least I wanted today to focus on what UNESCO club centers are all about. This document, I will share it after this, okay? So basically, this PowerPoint is just tell you again, what is UNESCO? UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. So, and then, okay, here, that's a table of content. I'm going to do, okay, what is UNESCO? Okay. As you can see, the UNESCO was founded, after the Second World War, okay, in November 16, 1945. That's why in November, I hope this coming November 16, we, FAU, and the US Federation will be having some really significant events, to mark that day with all the new club center association we'll be having. So, and it says that, I know you guys could all read, but I'm just summarize this. I've been saying this time and time again, contribute to world peace.
No, take your time. Go ahead and slow down. Take
Okay.
your time because people
Okay,
need
so
to
there's no
understand.
perfect. Okay.
They'll be watching this.
Yeah, and
Good.
also if you could speak as slowly as you can. because
Okay.
There will be
So that
people.
okay, so we have time. There's no need to rush. Okay.
There will be.
I know now we're trying to get a meeting on that 1 hour. That's why I was sidelined. But
that
again, I'll go ahead.
Ignore the time and
Mhm.
do it properly. There are
Okay.
people that are listening whose
Perfect.
language is not English first. So please take your time.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Again, this first is talk about what UNESCO is all about. Okay, and I stated earlier, it's a United Nations educational, scientific, and cultural organization that was founded after the Second World War to help make sure that to address what it was known as the core element of the war. We was mistrust, misunderstanding, some people thinking they were better than others and things like that. So that's why the institution was created. The main objective was to contribute to peace and security in the world by promoting collaboration between nations through education, science, culture, and communication in order to further universal respect for justice, the rule of law, human rights, and fundamental freedom, which are affirmed for the people of the world without distinction to race, religion, language, sexual orientation, and all those things. So that is the main mission that was given to UNESCO when it was founded in 1945. Okay. So then we are in a civil society. So we went straight from the UNESCO as a whole to the civil society. There's another document that I will be sharing a little bit after this, depending on the, again, if you have time. So UNESCO realized that it will be very, very important to have a civil society as an integral part of the structure of UNESCO. And this is based simply under the fact that in 1947, just 2 years after the war, we talk about the bomb that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki on Japan. So Japan was actually soul searching how in the world they got to fight a war like that where two atomic bombs have to follow them. So a young man in 1947 in a city called Sendai in Japan heard about this concept of UNESCO. And it is claimed that it stated that this was too important to leave it in the hands of government. Because on that time, government actually has monopole of cruelty. Government will have death penalty, no one else can have it. They could kill other people in the name of the government and all those things. So the war wasn't fractured through terrorism branch like we have today. So this is not, yes? Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Good. Okay. So the first club in the world was founded in Japan. Okay. At that time, it's worth noting that Japan was not a member of the United Nations and Japan was not a member of UNESCO. But someone realized this was very important that he decided to create what he called the first UNESCO club. Okay. These statistics are all statistics. Up to date, we think there's around 5,000 clubs across the globe, virtually in all areas of the globe. A UNESCO club, a group of people of all ages, all walks of life, who share the firm belief on UNESCO ideals. Again, promote peace through education, science, culture, and communication. Again, anybody could have this flyer after. So if you need this, I could share it with everybody, okay? So what is the role of the World Federation of UNESCO Club Center Association, okay? So it serves as an NGO. Again, it is what I like to say in short, it is the civil society branch of UNESCO. UNESCO is a member state organization. That means that when UNESCO is having its meeting, it's not we sitting there and speaking, let's say United States, whoever is running United States speak, France, whoever, so it's not about you, me, and anybody, okay? It's about state, member state. That's what UNESCO is all about. But they found it important to be relevant at the local level to have UNESCO clubs, and the World Federation was supposed to govern the activities of UNESCO club in each country. Okay, so it's also, so it has a hybrid status that is a non-NGO, but it's not an NGO like any others, because there's a rule and regulation where you use the name UNESCO and you use the logo of UNESCO. That's what is important when it comes to UNESCO. So I'm not sure if this could play, but let me try. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I think it's very important that we see.
Well, it's only 12 minutes, so if you need to play it, play it. You'll have to stop sharing Guy and start again, but include the sound button. So you have to stop sharing and start again, Guy.
These are some World Heritage Sites of UNESCO. Now, UNESCO has what we call World Heritage Sites. I will talk about that in a few minutes. These are landscape and these are treasures across the globe that are so important that we believe that it belongs to everybody.
All right, Guy, what I want you to do, hold on a second. Andrew, could you take
When UNESCO was
that
being founded,
page
the
is?
first general conference was held in Paris. The first director general.
If he can put the link in the chat, I can play it.
Right. Yeah, what I want you to do is to take your link, copy your link right up there and put it in the chat so that Andrew can play the video.
Okay.
Just copy it and put it in the chat so he can see it and he can play it.
I see. I see what you're saying. Okay.
And so the reason we're taking this time, people, is because of the strategic agreement that's being worked out between UNESCO, okay, clubs, centers and associations, and Friends of the African Union and allies to put this into operation.
Okay.
All right.
So I shared a link.
Hold on a second. He's going to get it and bring it up on the screen so that we can start from the beginning and hear the sound. So you can go back to your PowerPoint when it gets through.
Okay.
And while he's doing that and getting that ready, we have a funding conference call on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. And going for the first full-fledged center, we've got the architectural report. Okay, and the use of proceeds for that. You ready, Andrew?
Yes. Guy, you have to stop sharing your screen.
Oh, I have to stop sharing. Okay.
Okay, give me just a moment, please.
And again, this is a work in progress, people. Your input is needed.
I was telling this are some of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites across the globe. actually is just outlines the major step, the major realizations and milestone of UNESCO in the history. Unfortunately, it's not playing very well. But what I would suggest we do, my boy, is that since it's in there in the chat group, anybody can take that down.
Let's go ahead and stop it, Andrew.
Okay, yeah, stop it over there. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
The link is there, and anybody could play this later on. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let me do the
Go ahead.
presentation.
Go ahead back to your share screen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, basically, we like to say, again, UNESCO, it goes from the local community to the world, or you can go from the world to the local community. So at the regional level, so UNESCO, the World Federation is actually divided into regions. And then even in region, and as we stated here, we member who actually run the UNESCO, we see ourselves a local level ambassador of the organization, because even though the organization has clear goal and mandate, they will not be achieved until at the local, they are done at the local level. And the government don't do them at local level. It is us, the civil society, that actually have the burden of translating these noble ideals into programs that is going to affect the life of every single one around us. That's why we see ourselves as a global ambassador of UNESCO. And UNESCO actually does respect the work that we do every single day. At the national level, like I stated, we have a lot of programs from time to time that allows not only country to engage, but allow different students, young people to engage all the time. But each country has what we call national federation of UNESCO clubs, centers, and associations that actually is in charge of coordinating all these activities. We in the US actually belong in what is called the Europe and North American Federation, okay? So at the international level, so we work with other clubs in other countries, in other regions, to really further the mission of the organization, okay? To make sure that through knowledge that is distributed, through understanding, sharing, engaging each other, we come out with solution of the problem that are different than taking guns when, has been done throughout the history of humankind. So now at the local level in each country, we hear UNESCO club, UNESCO club, UNESCO clubs, but this is actually how in most countries, each country is independent, but in the US, in many countries, there's actually school clubs. Yeah, school clubs are usually students, and the usually term over there is 1 year. So if you have a school that would like to have a UNESCO club, they go to the same process where I think they go to the same process where there's a membership that's filled out, and then but they should have one teacher they're responsible for coordinating that with the student. And those students actually, I usually go there and do a first official swearing-in of the new executive, and also do the training so that they can see the type of program that they could do to be part of the international community, though acting locally. So clubs are very encouraged in school, and it could be as small as even the younger. We have some kindergarten in some countries that have clubs. So it's not something that should just go to the 12th grade or K through 12, whatever. At any level, as long as they have one teacher that's working with them, that's something that we encourage. The universities also are encouraged to have clubs. So they also, just like school clubs, UNESCO university also have 1 year term for when they elect their executive. But at the civil, what we call the civil society, anybody, anywhere could get a number of people, usually have about 25 people, and they can create a club. Sometimes they are called club, sometimes they call association, and sometimes they call simply called UNESCO club center or centers. Okay, so but all of them have one characteristic. The most important thing for UNESCO club is that, first of all, they respect all the rules and regulation of UNESCO, because again, you are carrying a name and using the logo of an organization that's an international organization. So there are things you cannot just do whatever. You could not, for instance, be a UNESCO club and they see you choosing one religion over another, for instance, or they see you fighting, promoting war, promoting fight between people. You're supposed to be there to promote peace, okay? To work on United Nations main goal or UNESCO main goal or any other United Nations institutions goal. So those are usually the kind of club center association that we have at the local level. Any existing organization could become a UNESCO club. So you don't have to start from scratch. If you have a club in a group of people that believe that what is better if we use education, science, culture, and communication to help raise a new generation of peacemakers, then that's it. Okay, the global activists, and we have a variety of programs that will come into play. So, again, what are some of the things that UNESCO Club do? Okay, of course, the most important thing is that they are there to promote the respect and the principle of UNESCO. Okay, develop, promote understanding of, again, in UK they like to say aim, but here we say goal of UNESCO and its programs. But UNESCO usually have all the countries get together at a general conference and decide the program. Their program usually mostly access to help people where the need is the most, like in Africa or in Latin America. So Club Center Association will be working to support the program of UNESCO. You could not do something that is totally against or in contrary to what UNESCO is calling for. The UNESCO Club facilitates international understanding, cooperation, and world peace. Contribute to the training and civic and democracy to their members. So they are, from time to time, UNESCO Club Center Association will have a symposium, conference, and things like that to make sure that people understand what human rights is all about, what democracy is all about. Okay. Clubs support human rights, okay, social development, and then full development on the human and person. So basically, UNESCO clubs are there to really nurture people and empower them to become a very global citizens, so that we can each treat our brothers and sisters, with due respect and due respect. UNESCO Club seeks to disseminate UNESCO ideal, okay, and get activities that promote the organization's existence. So you broaden also the cultural horizon and provide invaluable service to UNESCO. Again, the National Commission, each country has what we call National Commission for UNESCO, and their role actually is to make sure that all the clubs and federations in each country are doing their role, and are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and not doing what they're not supposed to be doing. And by so doing, we are an integral part of the UNESCO world mandate. UNESCO Club also use skills and outlook to foster peace and exchange. So anything you can do to promote peace and exchange program, that's, again, clubs are different in size, in shape, in goal, and things like that, but they could pick one of these things to focus on. They could do all these things. Yeah. The UNESCO Club also supposed to be supporting your own community in which you live. Okay, you have to be a positive asset to your community in which you're coming from. You have developed club membership. Usually, a club, just like other entities, let's say you're in a club in Kansas, you're a member. You have your membership in Kansas. When you go to Maryland, for instance, you are still a member of the same organization. Okay. So that's if you have a membership that allows you to anywhere you go to join in the spirit of brotherhood. Anyway, yes, each club supposed to submit every 6 months to submit their report to the National Federation. Okay, so UNESCO clubs are asked to develop club membership, and also let the national office know how many members there are. Again, this member is people that are committed to be agent for peace and promote peace around there in the community. So these are some of the frequently asked questions, as you say. education, sharing, and action. So these are the main line of UNESCO. So I know what, but how? How will a UNESCO club be involved? Okay, in education. Value of UNESCO club does not lie simply in the knowledge it helped to to impart, but also, and more importantly, the training role. Okay, again, sometimes in our community, it's not just to have the information available, we need to be training. The UNESCO club actually are training global citizens all the time. And that's one of the major, so for those of you who witnessed the main program we had just 3 weeks ago, we had about 100 young people from around the world. They come here, what they do is similar to training, to preparing them to be change agent in their community. We also, UNESCO clubs also is very important in sharing. Through all these UNESCO clubs around the world, they're sharing the basic purpose of UNESCO is to increase awareness, sustainable development, for instance, global warming, all these things. I remember when the UN came out with this dire report this Monday, Brother Hershey was saying how terrible it was. But again, UNESCO club not just share that, but say, what can we do about it? And that's what we're talking about action. So UNESCO clubs are about action. You cannot be a UNESCO club and every day just doing literature, just be talking. No, to be a good UNESCO club, you do to take action. What are you doing on the 17 goal, for instance? What are you doing on human rights around you? Why are you to bring the community together? So you need to have programs that will help make you an asset to your community. So basically, why become a UNESCO club? Of course, build your reputation through association. At least you are connected to this reputable organization that's respected everywhere around the world. It's very unfortunate that UNESCO in the US, people don't know about UNESCO as much, but everywhere else that you go around the world, when you see UNESCO, people bow to you. Okay, and which is very, very important. So they say, yes, when you are part of UNESCO in any way, shape, or form, it strengthens your credibility across the globe with other partners. You become a member of a global network. Like I say, right now there are about 5,000 for virtually all the countries around the world. You also bring opportunity because of the name or the reputation of the work that UNESCO does day in and day out. Becoming a club gives attract opportunity. Okay, there's a lot of other programs, like when we saw that video, it wasn't very clear, but the World Heritage Sites, what is it all about? So when you have something in your community that's so good and so beautiful that belongs, to your humanity, you could submit it to UNESCO to become a World Heritage Site. And when it becomes a World Heritage Site, people from around the world will come and visit it. Okay, so these are some of the opportunities that, and then accelerate the mission of again, through bringing people together, planting the seed of peace, and making sure that we have the world, not that we think about, we create ourselves. Mahatma Gandhi used to be the change you want to see in your community, and that's what UNESCO club members do in their own community. Okay, again, as a UNESCO club member, you can add value, you can share, you can participate, and you can teach others, you can train others. So these are some tips for success of new clubs. What are your main reasons for becoming UNESCO? Again, you could have a single mind club, which is okay, like all we care about is environment and we're going to work on environmental issues, or you could be as diverse as you want. Do different things all the time, partner with other clubs around the world. So again, do you have the time? Again, like anything else, things just happen if you don't have time. If you want to have a club, you are going to devote the time to make that club a successful club. So it takes time. Okay, you used to have meetings from time to time. You want to have an executive and all these things, a good structure, because again, that's how you get training, you empower people, you learn from each other. And choose a day how the club is going to meet. There will be a clear, organized plan to determine which UNESCO club priority. Again, UNESCO has so many priorities. Women issues, young girls, the parity between men and women. There are places around the world until now, believe me or not, until now, where people, when they give birth to a woman, they would rather kill that woman because they want a boy. It's happening today. And these are things that UNESCO is fighting very hard on. So you can pick any topic. It could be global warming, it could be environmental issue, it could be the right of journalists, to make sure we don't have journalists being killed like we see all the time in Mexico and other countries. So just pick one thing or many things that you focus on for your club, and then, but the most important is stay informed. As a UNESCO club, you know what's going around the world. You listen to news, you celebrate International Day, you are aware. of what is going on in your backyard, as well as become UNESCO club. So basically, you have to become UNESCO club in the US. Again, you have some of the clubs that came in and left. So we have a club in Minnesota, in Virginia. So these are some of the club you have over, over the years. Some are more active than others. Some are actually dormant right now, again, but we have a number of clubs that are very active, that have been very active. Okay, one of the things we don't have yet that's really a priority for me is to have state chapters. Once we have state chapters, that's going to help a lot. So the national office will have less headache or be more effective. So these are some helpful things. The World Federation of UNESCO Club is there, UNESCO.org, which is the main website for the organization. And then on the UNESCO Club, they also, if you want to know more about clubs, you have UNESCO.org/ they give you more information. Then this is the US Federation, UNESCOUSA.org. That's our, of course, UNESCO is part of United Nations. That's why we see it. Okay. The UN has this civil society, which is very, very powerful. Just like UNESCO has its network, the UNESCO, and that's why we're talking about ECOSOC status. Actually, there are two agencies. You have UNDPI, Public Information Office. Any organization could become member of the UNDPI or ECOSOC. But ECOSOC status is more, it's kind of like more important, because when you have the ECOSOC status, you don't need the other one, because all the activities of UNDPI you can participate. Of course, this was done when we were talking about the Millennium Development Goals, but today we are talking about Sustainable Development Goals. Now, any UNESCO club supposed to be doing something on the Sustainable Development Goals. So that was a brief presentation. And if you want to, let me put this website in this chat. If you want to have a club, basically you can just go to UNESCO Center for Peace.org, and then you will see the link. We can download the form. Also, I think we also sent you that form yesterday so that you can apply and become a UNESCO club. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. I don't know how no, the time is almost gone. So there's some few other things, but I think I'll do that as we go through, because I'm sure there are other things that we discussed tonight. So I don't know if there's any question, but I'm happy to answer any question you may have.
So it's an open to you guy, okay, for the questions to get this answered, because of the Permanent Forum on People of African Descent, the decision of the United Nations on August 2nd, the release of the document on the for humanity on Monday, that existential threat, and FAU is dedicated to creating this whole infrastructure with partners like the World Conference of Mayors, which approved the going forward to go to the US government for funding. We know the funding is there because we did part of the workup when they were putting the American Rescue Plan Act together, and they gave the Foreign Affairs Committee, who the first time was headed by a Black man, $10 billion to mark up. And at the end of the day, in the law, there is over $580 million that for this plan of action that we can put together for this. So I want people to know what the UNESCO clubs and centers and associations, when you talk about association, that is for the African diaspora directorate for the 300 million for the Sons and Daughters of Africa, and FAU for the continent and the nations, the other 15 nations, 16 nations that qualify as ruled by people of African descent. And then centers and clubs, which we're doing a club in public-private partnership in the town of Fort Coffee, and we're doing, which is a member of the World Conference of Mayors, and then we're doing a center in Hamilton County. So please, people, if you have questions of Guy, he's the, how long have you been in the UNESCO?
Actually, to be honest with you, I started when I was in high school in Cameroon. Just to tell people, this is actually an example when I go and work with with the young people. I tell them I was an advisor to the Cameroonian National Federation of UNESCO Club. I'm talking about that. We're talking about 40 years ago. So it's been my life passion, and that's why. And then when I came here, and the US went back to UNESCO at the end of 2003, 2004, because we had for decades. I worked with people for National Commission that knew that I had the expertise to run a center here and get the UNESCO civil society up to the ground. So that's exactly, I've been doing this almost all my life.
So that's why you should answer the questions why we're working with him to put this in place. Again, the permanent form is what we make of it.
Yeah.
We just received, we're going to go tomorrow. We just received from yesterday the actual final document in the United Nations document. That's the permanent form. We're going to be going over that tomorrow. Today is dedicated to UNESCO. All right, open questions, people. Nobody has any questions. Okay.
Well, no, let me think. The question I want to ask, okay, the idea that they're in California, was there a state chapter? And if not, what would be the advantage of a state chapter, starting with a state chapter, or just starting with a smaller, organization or at a school? What would be
What city are you right now?
I'm in the capital, Sacramento.
Oh, Sacramento. Okay, good. I do have some people that have been, okay. First of all, we had some amazing school clubs over there over the year, but unfortunately, we have some students that are so good, and then at the end of the year, they leave, and then that's it, okay? So we had some amazing club over there over time, but those who were animating it left right now, they left, and the club, is not active as it used to be. We have a small group of people in San Diego, and definitely I'm going to put in touch with them right away, because again, there are some few people here and there that are trying to do things, but I think it's very important to have a state chapter, okay? If you are ready, let's say you have 25 people, you could start a club right where you are, okay? Is that what I recommend? But at the same time, because I don't want to wait until, because to have a state chapter, you need people across, some few people across the state, because you don't have a state chapter and all of them is in the capital. No, you cannot do that. So, but I'll work with you, and I say if you can find people near you, or maybe in a school near you, could be a school. In Illinois, for instance, they have a hybrid which is hosted at the university, but at the same time, the civil people can attend. So that's something that, so it's again, the most important thing for UNESCO clubs in a city, people are committed to help plant the seed of peace in the mind of people using education, science, culture, and communication. So if you have a group of people, let us see how we can do. I'm also going as soon as possible. You get me, I'll put my contact again here for those for today, so that feel free to reach out to me. I can put in contact with some others, the other people over there that are doing some few things on UNESCO ground, okay? And again, with Brother Herschel, which will be coming very strong sometime soon. We're going to have this partnership with FAU that's going to allow us like people are going to sleep one day and wake up with the whole country.
Well,
have UNESCO clubs, center associations, state chapters everywhere. But I'll put my contact there. You reach out to me and we see what's the best. But if you can have a club in your area, I think it's usually very good to start from there.
So Jake, I gave you the first 25 locations that that we think that people who are associated with FAU might be interested or are interested in starting clubs. And I'll call on John Moss next, but as you notice right there on 22 Sacramento, and you're talking to the man who I'm talking to, who is the leader in Sacramento. Okay, and so the whole idea is that we have a grand sweep by the 25th of August. When the 25th of August is when the 400-year commemoration of Africans in the English colonies that became the United States happened, so that we can claim on August 25th to create on August 25th, 2022, a domestic, if not worldwide Black family reunion. So if you have additional cities that are not on that list that's on this call, or people who may be interested, otherwise, this is the list that we're going to be going with right now.
Perfect. So my contact is there. Feel free to reach out to me and we can expedite this and things. Mhm.
So John Moss, okay, you had a question.
Yes, hello, everybody. I just wanted to clarify. So regarding indigenous people, Native American, Asian, Hispanic, etc., anybody can participate in a club provided they follow the guidelines. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is totally correct. So I'm actually putting a link right now. Yes, anybody. Actually, we've worked with some native over the years, and we have not have any club yet, but we've had so many of them participate in punctual event. But it would be great to have in some of these tribe to have a UNESCO club, because it allows us to do more. So I just posted how to start a UNESCO club. You go there and you have all the steps from this link.
All right, additional questions? So just for your information's sake, why FAU is hosting these calls with EdThrough Foundation and our partner representative organizations, the African Diaspora Directorate, Sons and Daughters of Africa, that together, the three of us, in terms of this, we come together with these organizations and others to put together this plan of action that brings UNESCO down to the neighborhood. In the United States, there are 3,000 counties. And so the whole idea behind this is the bring together the creation of a civil society in the United States that would support UNESCO while in support of the United Nations Permanent Forum on People of African Descent. And so that you have to understand that we are on the trail. We're right at the edge of, we're scouting new territory, but we're just exploring new territory with nearly 75 years of experience backing us up. And like I said, Guy grew up, okay, in this program.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so the whole idea of what Marcus Garvey had asked for after World War I for the creation of Africa for the Africans and to develop, to manage the former German colonies. Well, we've got everybody, 1.6 billion people in the permanent forum for people of African descent, and we got one staffer. One full-time staffer that the UN is willing to pay for, which means we in civil society, okay, get a chance
organize.
to build it.
Yeah.
And we're building it with UNESCO.
Yes.
That's one of our chosen areas to do that. But we're also building it with organizations that's in consultative status.
Yes. Very
So
important.
in the Center for Peace is one, EdFU is another, New Future Foundation is another, that they're all in consultative status with the United Nations. Okay, Center for Peace in 2018 became in consultative status. The unique thing is that FAU has been in an organized joint venture with New Future Foundation in consultative pairing using the Universal Periodic Review of Nations since 2014. And so this is a primary tool when UNESCO talks about peace, we talk about the Universal Periodic Review of human rights so that we can talk about how we make peace happen. Because you got to feed the people. You got to provide some means of public safety for them so that the person with the AK-47 doesn't take the food for feeding people, as you have happening in Ethiopia right now. You have to educate the people so that they understand that what public safety, civil, and human rights are, so people can get fed. Okay, you got to have science, okay, and technology, and the whole idea of STEM or STEAM leads the way with respect for each other's culture based on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And we have a plan of action. Now, Sister Mary is here. And so I'll let her, if you have questions for Guy, now's the time to do it. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking to international, and Mary's going to be bringing forth the update to the international plan of action. Open mic, folks, open mic.
Thank you so much. I just joined, so I missed the whatever he was presenting on. So I would like to ask a question.
Yeah, well, he'll say, yeah, there's going to
You
be
have
a
direct access to
distribution.
that information. You know that.
Yeah, you have the direct, okay, already I have it. And after this, everybody will have it. Now, plans of FAU to create an association in the United States and with sons and daughters in the continent and the 16 nations that are African descended, then you can join in with that, us, or if you are a nonprofit organization, if you decide not to and come forward, that's fine, okay, because the whole idea is that we all meet on August 25th around a unified document, which will be put forth in terms of the preliminary will be put forth on Monday, so that you would have your input on it. Any other questions today?
I just, Brother Herschel, I just wanted to clarify, when we talk about Marcus Garvey, was, the amazing thing about him, he was talking about Africa, Africans that are in Africa, and Africans that are out of the continent. So yeah, it's very important to know that he saw Africa everywhere. Today we call it descendant and things like that. For him, they were all Africans. And that's something that I really like about him.
Yeah, well, he believed Africa for the Africans, but he believed those of us who were in the West could be supportive, which is what made him so dangerous.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
He wanted to unite from the
century
Atlantic,
ago,
and that's why it was too dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, the Universal Negro Improvement Association African Communities League was the first organization to bring those two together in terms of to liberate Africa and to organize African descendants in the diaspora. And so when he promoted the slogan, Africa for the Africans, at home and abroad, okay, and unlike the NAACP and other organizations of his day, he talked about economic empowerment that begets social enlightenment. And he had a nurse corps, he had a universities, he had a whole infrastructure that is yet to be matched until August 2nd, 2021. And so at the end of World War I, that's happened. Look forward to it. Guy?
Well, what is real powerful is Monday is his birthday. Marcus Messiah Garvey, while we lay out the plan and get feedback on it. Monday is his birthday.
Andrew Herschel fell off, but Mary has her hand up unless she's giving us a high five.
Thank Thank you, John. It's a high five.
Thanks for the high five.
No, I just actually wanted to interject on what you were saying. When it comes to, I don't know, that is usually my assessment that whenever we are talking of slogans, we should also do what they call an evaluation. What are those slogans that have made us succeed? What are those ones that have made it hard for us to succeed? And in anything, opportunities always, as the world changes and gets more civilized, different opportunities come up. And I think as a community also, we should also resonate with those kind of developments. So yes, there is a certain slogans or mottos that really inspire people and encourage, but again, how much are we achieving with them? I think that is something that we should also assess. And talk of UNESCO and the programs that we were talking about. Sometimes I think we even tend to fail to see what we can be able to achieve as a team. Because trust me, if we run as 4, it's not like when you are 18. 18 entities make a move as opposed to just 4 or 3 or 5. So we again have to choose. Do we want to arrive at short-term goals? Do we want to go for long-term goals? And therefore, we strategize on how we do on this. So that drives me to the idea of UNESCO and the engagement that we are doing. I knew actually by the end of this year, we would come up with because our at Watch Democracy Grow, our intention is to engage civically. Yes, we are talking of human rights, but we are talking also of civic engagement, patriotism. What do you mean by patriotism? How do we change the narrative of only being a gift of some and not the other? So those are the things that positively we can also make a good team there. If you can see that vision. If we can't see that vision, I usually tell people, I am very so good to navigate peacefully and maybe don't die at age 33 like Jesus. That was my contribution. Thank you.
Where's Brother? She's there.
I think it dropped on the call.
Our illustrious leader. Okay.
Well,
I
we
think
have Mother Blakely joining us, so give me just a moment to let her in.
okay. Okay. Perfect.
Hello.
Greetings, Queen Mother.
Oh, this is hard to get into you all's meeting
We
now.
can't hear you yet,
Okay, can you hear me
or
now?
at least I can't.
You
Yes.
can't? I can.
I can hear you, grandmother.
Yes, I said that
We
it was
can hear
hard.
you very well, Queen Mother.
Okay, because it was hard getting into you all
Yes, thank
meeting
you, and
tonight.
greetings.
Greetings to all
Can,
of
yes.
you. Did you get the press release about the elders gone to Ghana? Hello?
No, I did not. I did not.
Oh, you should have received that. We need to send, they left today and I did put about the Trail of Tears is in it. You know, the elders from the survivors from Tulsa. Hello?
We can hear you, Queen.
We
I
can
can
hear you, Queen
I'm
Mother.
sorry, I have my phone muted. I'm looking in my spam email to see if it went there.
Yes, we passed it out
Yes, we're
today.
here.
to the World
We heard you,
Conference of
Queen Mother.
Mayors. Yes, the World Conference of Mayors. It was given to them at their meeting today. So I thought someone in that meeting should have had a copy to share with others of the press release that I put out.
Do you have a copy you could send to me or send to us or send to us by email?
Yes, where is Chairman Daniels? He should have
This,
it.
this is John. I did get it and I will forward it to you, Andrew.
Yes, please.
Everybody else.
We just constantly been editing it because we're trying to get it out widely. That Queen Mother been the catalyst for this divine mission, that the group has been
Thank you.
able to raise the money quickly, and they're on their way to Ghana at the age of 107. Thank you for sharing it.
Wow, a lifetime dream.
Yes, but when I went, the spirit energy had me to bring my from my royal court, the kente cloth. Started with that energy.
Queen Mother, I just sent it to Andrew and to Carolyn so they can disperse it to everybody.
Yes, please, please, and throw your loving arms and prayers around this journey for the elders.
I did when we spoke this morning at the meeting. Yes.
Yes,
always.
thank you. And we're trying to get it out widely to the whole worldwide world about us returning to the soil of Mother Africa. If it's nothing but for 2 days, the healing and the transformation is very important, especially for our young people and for our entire family.
So while we're waiting, I guess, Andrew, maybe Queen Mother, can you tell us a little more precisely what will they be doing there? Who are they meeting with? Who will be in attendance? Anything that we should know, please let us know.
Yes, it's very interesting how the divine force of life has moved this energy, where you know that I came in the storm to Tulsa, and I've never been to Tulsa before, Oklahoma, and I wanted to be in Greenwood and close as I could, and you know that I landed on a stormy day of being in Greenwood, and you know that I lived, John, in the Greenwood district while I was there. That was by purpose and design for me to have been there in the spirit of my ancestors. And you know, I could walk to Black Wall Street, which is about 2.5 blocks from where I lived in Greenwood. And in that spirit energy, if you recall, I left early. And thanks to the World Conference of Mayors assisting and hosting me. And so I had to leave early so I could get on the ground spiritually. And in that request of an early ticket, and when I arrived, I wanted to know what was happening because there was no information given to us on arrival of what was happening in Tulsa. And so Queen Mother asked around to those that was in the hotel, and lo and behold, the chief editor for the Black Wall Street was in the hotel. And at breakfast, I said good morning to him, and he gave me the news of what was happening since he was a part of press. And I was able to go quickly to meet with the historical procession that took place in Greenwood. And I met a royal group society that had been involved with social justice issues for years around the race massacre of Tulsa. And when they spotted me of coming to join them, they were so pleased because some of the royal family knew who I was out of Harlem. And I explained to them that I would want to meet with the elders, the survivors, and asking for their assistance in making that happen since they was in charge of the procession. And the name of the group is on the document, African Ancestor Society, a royal group coming out of the US, African descendants, but they had participants coming directly from the motherland on this particular day. And they interface not only with Ghana, but also Nigeria and other African nations. And so when I said to them that I want to give a gift to them from all of the African descendants of the diaspora, and when I said I had the royal gift from my court in Harlem, they were so pleased. And they said, yes, Queen Mother, you'll be able to give them the gift on the wagon. So they're the ones who made the choice where I would give the gift to them. And the buggy, the horse and buggy, the horse and wagon at the beginning of the historical procession. And that's where they allowed me, when they prostrate on the ground, that was the time for me to make my move without spooking the horses. And so I did exactly what they advised me to do. When I just took the kente cloth and said to the three elders, I'm Queen Mother Dr. Deloise Blakely, representing 55 million displaced Africans of the transatlantic ocean of the slave trade. And this is our gift for your resilience of living over 100 years old as our survivors and blessing them. Then the oldest of them on the far side of me, which I was in the grass side, and the far side, Mama Fletcher, the oldest one, 107 years old, said in a loud, clear voice, I want to go to Africa. As I laid the cloth, the kente cloth across the three of them. And then the elder in the middle was 106 years old. And the one on the end, which they call Uncle Red, and the way he spoke, you could tell that he was involved with the military. He had served in the military. And so they all was very clear as they chimed in about Mother Africa. And I was so moved to have 6 eyes laying on me as I spoke, and they all was over 100 years old. I have never witnessed anything like this in my life. And for them to chime back at me and saying the word, I want to go to Africa. So with that, I was so moved like the rest of the day. And being a part of the procession until they arrived at a park where all of the politicians and the attorney that represented them for reparations and others. And with all of the press where they were sitting in a circle at the park. And I sat in front of them and just kept admiring them and moved by them. I just could not keep my eyes off of them when they were in the circle at the park. And after that, I wanted everyone to know about that experience that I had witnessed with the survivors of the massacre. What resilience that I was able to feel from them. All have reached over the age of 100. And I said, look at this. What kind of genes, what kind of people they are. And for me to be there for the 100th anniversary of the race massacre is something I will never forget. But I wanted to tell the news to everyone, if you remember, John. I couldn't stop talking about it.
I remember we were spreading the word, went to the park, and then, yeah, wonderful.
Oh, I have never witnessed anything like this in my lifetime. Never experienced anything like it. And I'm still so moved. But you know, when I left from Tulsa, Oklahoma, coming back to New York, coming back to Harlem, then I went to Goree Island. And I did take the sacred cape with me, the blanket with me, John.
The shawl and the shawl I gave you.
Oh, yes, yes. I carried it all the way to Mother Africa and put it on the sacred land of my ancestors. No one didn't know what I was carrying, but Queen Mother had to carry it through this journey of the transatlantic ocean of the slave trade, or returning home with our ancestors' spirit of our family that are in North America. And so there again, I'm preparing how we're going to bring the elders home. By the time I reach back to New York, I get a call where the sister who lives in South Africa is the one who called me, and I knew her for years, Dr. Tony Luck. And she made it clear she wanted me to see how they were taking them to Africa. And that's what they were able to do with another sister that I knew that lived in Ghana for about 30 years. I met her many times in Ghana, and that's Ambassador Erica Bennett. And so they both are calling me about this trip and how they're organized, and I was very pleased. And in the midst of all of that, some other things jumped out of their organization around it, but at least it's 2 African descendant women. One lived in Ghana for over 30 years on the ground, and the other one lived in South Africa on the ground. So those are the 2 leadership women. And then there was the group that we kept telling about it, who kept following us around. The name of the group is called With Lavinia, and she's the one kept introducing them to me, and we have a tape on them hearing the conversation. So now they are the sponsor called the group. I'm trying to think of their name. It's a very short name of the group who has taken charge of them. And I didn't know too much about them, but the only thing, they did follow us around for information. And they was able to grab it and run with it, which again, that is in divine order that someone ran with it. And I'm so humble that is happening. And Queen Mother was the catalyst for this. And we need to just pray and ask God to keep them. Black Truth, I think it's the name of the group. Something Black Truth. Seemed like they were a media group, but I was very pleased that they did gather and they're on their way home quietly, but I hope that they make enough noise and tell the true story, how it all happened, that all of us is involved with this journey. All of us was a part of this journey with the gift that I gave to the 3 elders living over 100 years old. And so that's what is shown. And some media that really caught up with us for a moment, and the international media had time to hang around, a few of them, but they didn't know what was going to happen. And so it is in Europe. We know that the French news carried it. And those that are from French African countries been calling me because they saw my image on their news. And then the Oklahoma showed the blanket. They showed the shawl from Queen Mother Royal Court of Harlem. And that was something, I saw it in my hotel room and I screamed to the top of my lungs because I was in my room alone, of seeing the royal shawl that it was showed on the major television of Oklahoma. So we are pulling images about this historical journey that we all played a role in it. It was given for the 55 million displaced Africans of the transatlantic ocean of the slave trade. And they received it on that wagon, horse and buggy, that morning on Greenwood District. So I'm still in awe and still moved about what has happened, and ask for all of your prayers around this divine mission. And I thank you while I'm waiting to hear from you. What a day for Queen Mother.
Thank you. Blessings. Andrew or Carolyn, you want to take it back over, or?
Thank you, Queen Mother.
And my prayers go to Nana. Please let him know for Queen Mother. I've been in prayers all day for him and the family. Please let him know that for Queen Mother.
Okay, thank you. I'll let him know. Okay, so any questions for Queen Mother or comments that anyone else would like to make? Okay, then it's time for us to close out. Elder Cox, could you do a closing prayer for us?
I think I'd like to yield to Bernice or to Queen Mother. She has been on a holy journey. And even if she just says A, B, C, D, I think it'll be a blessing if she doesn't mind.
Absolutely. Queen Mother, would you mind?
Let me just say yes. My book has come out, my reflections also, and I'd like to share this one around this time in history for all of us. And we ask that God just keep us on the divine path of life. Amazing grace. Amazing grace, how sweet it is to engage in the wonder of God's grace. Make us be still, silent as a lagoon, to witness your amazing grace. In this place, our abode, our home, let us be still and know that God is God and God alone. Give thanks. May we ask to hold unto God's unchanging hands as we save by amazing grace. How sweet it is. It is sweet. Amazing grace. give thanks.
Amen.
Ashe.
Thank you. The meeting is now adjourned.
Ashe.
Man, blessings, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Okay, thank you,
Bless-
everybody. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
We're gonna
everybody.
call it a day.
Okay, have
Thank you.
a blessed weekend to all.
Weekend. All right.